I got carpal tunnel syndrome. Uncle Eli. Medicinal herbs are often scraggly or even stinky, and repulsive-looking plants that unsuspecting people would judge to be nothing more than noxious weeds. And because when they're not blooming, they don't look like much, a lot of wildflowers are considered to be weeds too. But if you know what's what, you can look at a fungus and see a life-saving medicine. And if you're there at the right time, you can see an ugly brown stick sprout a delicate flower. In the same vein, it's no secret that some of the best docs aren't officially certified doctors at all. Mothers, for example. Here's a story about a man who wasn't technically a doctor, but who was willing to try to help out, just on an interim basis during an emergency. I come from a family of pharmacists, said Dr. Hendricks. Most of my childhood I assumed I'd be a pharmacist when I grew up. But then something happened to my Uncle Eli and it inspired me to go to medical school instead. Uncle Eli was visiting a coal mining camp, helping the local doctor get his small dispensary in order, when the doctor suddenly and unexpectedly died. This was in a very isolated area where the only way to get there was to drive up a creek bed in a car with a lot of ground clearance. Anything large, like furniture, had to be brought in on a railroad car. With the local doctor dead, there was no other doctor or hospital the people could reach in a reasonable amount of time. The mining company asked Uncle Eli to stay on, just until they could find a replacement, and he reluctantly agreed. He knew some first aid and was willing to do what he could for the miners and their families, temporarily, on an emergency basis. There was no drugstore, so he dispensed all his own medicines. He bought aspirin made up of 3 different colors, green, pink, and white. They were manufactured for placebos by a pharmacy. He'd say, "Did them green pills help you? No? Then try some of these red ones." And if none of the pills worked, he'd give them one of the 2 liquids he kept. They were both mild sedatives. He prescribed either elixir of phenobarbital, which was pink, or elixir of butazol, which was green. If one didn't work, he'd switch the patient over to the other. He'd have to remember what color he'd given out for particular ailments and be sure not to give the same color for a different ailment. People would have lost confidence in him if he'd given them all the same thing. His other comprehensive remedy was blue mass, a laxative that was given for everything in the coal camp. Of course, some people would insist on a shot. They believed they couldn't get well with a pill or a liquid medicine. If they asked for a shot, he learned over time he might as well go ahead and give them one, or they'd be back because they wouldn't get well from medicine they didn't believe in. Uncle Eli knew one of the great secrets of healing. Patients needed hope. If they had hope, they could recover from nearly anything. He was a master healer even though he didn't have much real medicine know-how, because he loved and understood people. He was willing to take the burdens of total strangers onto himself and try to help lighten them with whatever he had on hand. They never did find a replacement doctor willing to come live in such a poor, isolated place. So Uncle Eli ended up staying there for 30 years. Eventually, when he was an old man, he was awarded a retroactive MD by the state legislature. They figured he'd earned it.